Hello, I'm Neal, the producer of Making Conversations Count, the weekly podcast hosted by telemarketing trainer and expert Wendy Harris from WAG Associates. You can catch it at makingconversationscount.com. Recently, Wendy released an episode all about building a business using Amazon to the tune of $1 billion of revenue. That's exactly what her guest, Shaahin Cheyene, had accomplished. Here's a quick clip to refresh your memory of the episode.
As the story goes, I walk into my office now 6 months later. I've got over 200 employees, offices in 32 countries, collection of exotic cars, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, all of it. Planes, trains, automobiles, the whole thing. I hanging around with celebrities, going to A-rate parties, the whole 9 yards. And I remember when we broke $1 billion in revenue. As a teenager, I had no clue, no high school education. I had a grade school education. And shortly thereafter, a few years, I'd broken $1 billion in revenue.
So now that we've all listened to this episode about building a business online with Amazon, let's carry on the conversation and find out what Wendy thinks about the conversation she had with Shaahin.
Shaahin, yes. Thrill pill king. How to make millions out of, a legalized drug. It's like the legal ecstasy. But a lot of what he says is, bringing it back to who you are, being true to who you are and what you want to be, and having those dreams and those goals and those desires, and really just imagining that you're there. He takes us on that journey in this conversation of, sleeping in the back of a car to, hanging out in Ibiza with celebrities. Blows your mind that that's possible, but it is.
It's the classic book story, isn't it, of overnight success, from rags to riches. It's a Walt Disney story, essentially, but this guy lived it. And what I think my eyes popped out of my head when you said to me, Neal, we got a drug dealer on the show.
Yeah.
Immediately, I had all kinds of thoughts around, Joe Rogan's getting episodes deleted for talking about, transgender issues right now. Drug dealing is a it's a whole new area. So I was a bit worried, but actually, it's genius.
It was a world that, I haven't seen for a long time, obviously, in my dim and distant youth. There are certain things as you grow up that is around you. And I was just really intrigued because a lot of, my dad was a screaming pagan, loved running through the woods naked. He would take mushrooms, and I think once he slipped me some magic mushrooms when I was about 19 in a coffee, and I was like, this coffee is vile. Bearing in mind that I was a bit of a coffee connoisseur because my job was coffee at the time. And I was like, this is horrible. And then he stuck Red Dwarf on, and I was just like, I hated that show. And I was sat there absolutely laughing my pants off at this ridiculous, please don't ever put it on now because I would just die. So, from my dad, who had this curiosity of doing things legally, but also to extend his senses, I was just intrigued. I just had to find out what his story was and how he's been able to take that to sort of do good, because that's effectively what he's doing. He's a philanthropist. He's sharing the stuff that he's learned with other people. And yet another guest who's saying, email me and I will give you it for free. I'm like, my days, this is just brilliant. This is just goldmine for people who want to get on in that space.
I think that's what really struck me, actually, was the fact that when he mentions in the episode about the great offer, which obviously the listeners will have to listen to the episode to get it, you get this all the time. Oh, get my free offer, click my free resources. It is a well-known tactic that is used by entrepreneurs. However, in this case, you'd already got the value. He was already talking about, essentially, he was using business coaching terminology. He was talking about leverage. He was talking about the 80-20 rule. And, it never hurts to get a refresher. A lot of us know this stuff because we've heard it before, but it never hurts to get a real use case study where the guy has done this. He's gone to the clubs. He's identified the market there. He's thought to himself, well, they're doing it this way. I've got another way that we could do this. And he's literally done the 20% effort for the 80% yield thing. So the fact that he's actually offering for either free or essentially massively discounted amount of cash to teach you how to do what he did, priceless.
Pusher turned pushing. I think it's perfect.
Hashtag.
But, you're right. We do know this stuff and we do need a reminder every now and again. And that's what I love about the guests that, can overlap in the same industries and markets or topics. It's just a fresh perspective that will resonate with you differently. And if it calls you to action and you then put that into action, my job here is done.
So there you go. That was the episode all about building a business online using Amazon. Make sure you check out all the other recent episodes as well at makingconversationscount.com. Click the button that says episodes and you'll be able to find everything, including conversations about marketing, sales, mindset, feminism, you name it. We've talked about it. There's even an episode where it's just constant laughter. If you're listening to this in Apple Podcasts, click the 3 dots at the top right of your screen and select follow. That way, you'll never miss a future episode once it's released. While you're at it, why not click the write a review button in Apple Podcasts as well? Every single comment we get really helps people to understand how good this podcast is. In the next episode, Wendy's talking to Veronica Gould about brain health. We're looking forward to that one. In the meantime, enjoy making those conversations count.